No, I Am Not Human is an accurate simulation of life in the Siberian wilderness. All you do in the game is stay indoors all day, drink yourself to sleep, and suspiciously eye your neighbors. Really, the only difference between real-life Russia and the setting of the game is the fact that instead of being too cold outside, it's too hot. And the visitors. But if I know anything about Eastern Europeans, it's that they can survive just about anything. After all, they have to survive each other on a daily basis. So here's why I think humanity can totally survive the setting of No, I Am Not Human. Being a citizen of Yakutsk, sunlight is naturally lethal to our protagonist and his neighbors, which is why they are quickly able to adjust to a nocturnal lifestyle after the sun heats up. During the events of No, I Am Not Human, the sun is heated up, rendering the daytime too hot for people to go outside. Everyone is forced to find shelter during the day and go out at night. The gameplay loop consists of talking to people in your house during the day and determining whether to let strangers in or turn them away at night. Anyone you let in will have a safe place to hide from the sun, while those you turn away may not find shelter in time before the sun comes out again. This alone would be an interesting setting to try and survive, but No, I Am Not Human throws a curveball. Not only is the sun getting hotter, but strange creatures called visitors have started to emerge. They look and sound like humans but are devoid of emotions and will take any opportunity to attack unsuspecting people. So now you have to balance letting people into your house and determining if they are a visitor, and thus a threat to you and the other inhabitants of your house. But as I said earlier, I think this is a scenario that is both survivable and thrivable. So let's begin with the first of the two problems.
The sun is a deadly laser.
The first question is, what's really going on? We know the Earth is hotter during the day, but that could be for a variety of reasons. The news broadcast on the very first day in game presents the heat as a record-breaking heat wave. Specifically, it breaks the Guinness record for duration. In the real world, there isn't a Guinness World Record for heat wave duration, but that doesn't mean we don't know it. The longest ever recorded heat wave was the Marble Bar heat wave from Western Australia. The heat wave lasted from the 31st of October 1923 to the 7th of April 1924, a total length of 160 days. The No, I Am Not Human heat wave has been going on for at least that long, meaning that this increase in heat has in all likelihood been gradual over a long duration. I too would probably think it was the end of the world if for half a year it was too hot to go outside. The very next in-game day, the news reporter says that temperatures have reached a critical level and people are advised not to go outside anymore. The increase in heat is attributed to a powerful solar energy eruption. In all likelihood, they are referring to either a solar flare or a coronal mass ejection. The one problem is that neither of these increase the Earth's temperature. Solar flares can disable radios and cause auroras to appear farther south than usual, but they don't increase the Earth's temperature. Coronal mass ejections are even worse, with the ability to cause total blackouts. Both coronal mass ejections and solar flares can happen simultaneously, but even together, they can't make the surface of the Earth hotter. So considering the fact that you still have a working TV in game, and that you can't see the northern lights outside at night, it's safe to say that neither of these is a possibility. What that means is that the sun is just hotter now, which is the worst case scenario because that means this is how it's gonna be from now on. Flares and mass ejections are at least temporary. The sun just being hotter is not something that's gonna go away. It's a total status quo shift. So what we know is that the world is now very hot. Now for the other issue, the visitors. We don't know much about them besides what the game tells us. We know that they started appearing after the sun heated up. They look and act like normal humans but lack emotions and will jump at any opportunity to harm others. According to several news broadcasts, this is how you can distinguish a visitor from a normal human. They have dirt under their fingernails from emerging from underground. They have bloodshot eyes from sun exposure. They have perfect white teeth, and they appear blurry in photographs. The nature of visitors is not clear, but they seem to follow similar rules to vampires. They cannot enter your house unless invited in. Several visitors pretend to be normal people so you will let them in. Once they are inside, they proceed to wreak havoc. And of course there's also the Smiling Man. He is a visitor who isn't hiding that fact. It's implied that he is able to kill a whole squad of soldiers by himself, yet for some reason, he never tries to enter your house. Unless of course you invite him in. This presents a clear weakness for the visitors. They, for whatever reason, are unable to enter a dwelling unless invited in, especially if there's more than one person inside said dwelling. This is the reason why they have to pretend to be normal people, because otherwise no one in their right mind would let them inside the house. So, between the now hotter sun and the visitors, how can humanity hope to survive in general? It seems pretty bad, and one of the game's endings even states it's no longer safe to live on the surface of the Earth. So here's my plan to survive the apocalypse. Step 1 is we gotta mitigate the sun and the heat. While staying inside your small Eastern European house forever seems to protect you from the sun and the visitors, it's not a permanent solution. Eventually you will run out of food and water and have to venture out, so staying in one place is not a good idea for you, your tenants, or people in general. The first order of business will be for humanity to shift towards living on the poles. If the sun is hotter in general, then the natural solution is to move somewhere that receives less sunlight in the first place. Both the Arctic and Antarctic should provide areas for people to live away from the worst of the heat. The game does not ever say how hot the heat wave is, but we do have some references for extreme heat. Phoenix, Arizona is one of the hottest cities on Earth, with an average summer temperature of 100+ degrees. The city of Phoenix sends out extreme weather warnings when the temperatures have been more than 90 degrees for 3 or more days. During these times, people are told not to venture outside unless absolutely necessary. Natural Weather Service lists any temperature above 100 degrees as dangerous for those sensitive to heat. You want to know who they count as being sensitive to heat? The elderly, people on certain medications, anyone working outside, anyone exercising or doing any strenuous physical activity, anyone without a reliable source of cooling and hydration, and those not used to the heat. So above 100 degrees, the only people who are considered safe are those sitting under trees with a portable AC unit and a large jug of water. Everyone else outside is at risk, and it only gets worse the hotter it is. Given these facts and the fact that FEMA in-game says not to go outside during the day period, this is clearly above an extreme heat warning. Thus it can be assumed that the average daily temperature is probably above 100 degrees Fahrenheit at minimum. So step 1 is to move somewhere cold. Whether it's the Arctic or the Antarctic, you just need to be somewhere cold enough that the day is still livable. With a livable daytime, you could do things needed for survival, like scavenging for food, or farming, hunting, fishing, anything you normally have to do outside. Speaking of fishing, people living near or on the coast should be better off. The ocean is a natural heat sink, and thus coastal areas tend to be cooler than inland. In addition to that, fish will be better suited to survive the new global status quo than most surface life. While a massive increase in global temperature will be devastating to almost all life on Earth, living underwater will at least partially mitigate the worst effects, meaning sea life may be one of the last stable food sources. With that in mind, I feel the safest place for people to resettle would be an Arctic island like Svalbard. Svalbard is far enough north that it should be cooler. On top of that, it's an island, so those two facts combined should put it in a decent temperature range. Given the new hotter temperatures worldwide, it's extremely possible that Svalbard will now be warm enough to be farmable, which will be made easier because Svalbard is where we keep the seed vault. Having a repository of millions of seeds means that establishing farming and generally replanting new life in this new temperate region will be easier. For step 2, we have to deal with the visitors. There is another advantage to Svalbard. It's an island. Islands are naturally insulated from the outside world, which means that keeping visitors away should be easier than if you were on the mainland. Even so, it's important that the world's new communities have methods to identify visitors. As said before, there are 4 main signs to determine if someone is a visitor. They are bloodshot eyes, dirt under their fingernails, perfect teeth, and blurry photographs. Unfortunately, the dirty fingernails and bloodshot eyes are not good indicators. All a visitor needs to do is wash their hands and avoid direct sunlight to not display these signs. On top of that, there are a variety of valid reasons why a normal person could display these signs, such as being a farmer for the nails, or being sleep deprived for the bloodshot eyes. The other 2 signs are much more manageable though. Perfect teeth, for example, is a good sign. Having perfect, straight, white teeth is not a super common trait among all people. Visitors end up catching on to this and avoid having perfect teeth by knocking out their own teeth so they have some missing. The issue is, even with teeth knocked out, they still have perfect white teeth everywhere else. A visitor could knock out half their teeth and drink coffee every day to stain them, but even then, their teeth would all be perfectly straight as if they had visited an orthodontist. And they're all perfectly shaped. Some people have wonky shaped teeth. My front teeth had a weird shape when I was a kid, so they had to be grinded down so they would fit better together when I got braces. With that in mind, it's only natural to assume that the British will inherit the earth, because their teeth are so naturally bad that no one will mistake them for a visitor. Humanity's future is one where orthodontists no longer exist, because a person with naturally crooked teeth is immediately trustworthy. And of course, there are the pictures. Visitors appear blurry in photos, which is a very easy and definitive way to identify them. If a person appears blurry in a photo, or refuses to be photographed in general, then they should be voted off the island. Another thing worth noting is that it's not clear how broad the visitor's inability to enter places uninvited is. If I have a town with a wall around it, do the visitors have to ask before coming into the town? If that's the case, then all you have to do is build a wall around your town, and whenever anyone shows up asking to get let in, you take a photograph of them. Anyone who shows up on a photo gets let in, anyone who's blurry on a photo can take a long walk off a short pier. So humanity can't survive No I'm Not Human. The best solution is to live in small communities on the Arctic or Antarctic islands. Anyone with decent looking teeth or who can't be photographed should not be allowed anywhere near these settlements. And hopefully, the visitors will eventually die off. Who knows, maybe the sun will cool back down and things will go back to normal. Either way, this is the best solution for this apocalypse. And with enough time and effort, the British Empire will once again reclaim the Earth, with their lack of dental hygiene being a not so shiny symbol of humanity's resilience.